Okay, so I'm getting this on camera now because I have a feeling that a lot of people, whether they know me personally or online, they're just gonna keep asking me, what do you think of 50 Shades? What do you think of 50 Shades?
Oh, I see. So you want me to give an opinion?
So to save myself to save myself some breath and to save myself from having to repeat the same thing over and over, I'm just gonna get all of my thoughts on camera right now. So they're out there, and I never have to talk about this movie or this bullshit franchise ever again.
Okay.
Hello there.
Hello. This is my grandpa, by the way.
Oh, I see. All right, shut up, sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, so first off, the first movie, I didn't see it, but you did. So what did you think of the first movie?
First movie, for between 1 to 15 or 1 to 10, I would give it a 4.
Okay.
Okay. Reason, no story, lousy acting, and that was it.
Yeah, the first one, when it came out in theaters, I was too young to see rated R movies in the theater. And then when I was old enough, I just stopped caring because everyone had told me it was bad.
Okay.
And then the second one, I didn't see in theaters, but I watched on DVD with you.
Yeah.
Which is a long story that I'll explain in a jump cut or something. So essentially, when I heard that my grandpa had accidentally watched the first 50 Shades, since he doesn't go on the internet very often, I had to then explain to him what 50 Shades was, the fact that it was a book based on fan fiction and it's now being turned into movies, and the fact that there was going to be a second one that year. So that kind of became the running joke every time that I would go over there and visit him. So, as I said, it passed by. I didn't see it in theaters, and neither did he, because he doesn't really get out that often. He doesn't go to the theaters. And so I come over one day. This is about like 4 or 5 months after it's left theaters, and my aunt, who I'm not gonna say her by name, just in case she watches this, but she bought the second movie on DVD and she lent it to my grandpa because she heard that he had again accidentally watched the first one. So I come over there and I jokingly ask, "So hey, did you get the second movie from Aunt insert name here?" And then he kind of seriously asks me like, "Okay, so you don't tell your mom about this. This stays between us. I'm gonna let you watch it because I didn't understand it. I kind of got bored and I didn't understand the story, and I can let you watch it so you can give me your opinion." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I've got a couple hours to kill. So we watch it." And yeah, that's pretty much it. So back to you. But I declared it the worst movie of that year. Like, honestly, it was
The second one you're talking about.
Yeah, the second one.
Okay.
Because I had seen a lot of bad movies that year, because that's where I really started going to the movie theaters a lot. And
in other words, you're a roving critic.
Yeah. So never in all of that year did I see a movie that was worse than 50 Shades Darker. What did you think of it?
Well, again, the story was nothing to brag about. That's number one. It kept you hanging. There was no flow of continuity in the particular movie as far as I'm concerned. And no story, no plot, lousy acting.
Yeah, it was just
lousy.
Yeah, it was just a series of scenes that just happened and that nothing, like, it didn't really have any effect on anything.
No.
Like,
the only effect it had was on your pocket if you bought it.
Yeah, which is why I'm glad neither one of us bought it. We just borrowed it from Harry.
No, I got mine through a mutual acquaintance.
So, but anyway, so the third one.
Okay, you said the third one.
Yeah, so the third one, I was thinking about, because I figured, okay, so whether I see it in theaters or I wait to watch it on DVD with you, regardless, I'm still going to see the movie. And it was a real serious debate that I had in my head. Like, do I rip off the bandage early and see it in theaters with an audience, or do I savor the pain for 5 months until it comes out on Blu-ray?
Okay.
And ultimately, in the end, I couldn't decide, so I let my lovely friends decide for me. And they pretty much all unanimously agreed that they
You should go and see the movie.
Yeah, that they all agreed that they love seeing me suffer.
Oh,
and so
thank you, friends. I could.
Yeah, so thanks for that, guys.
Yeah.
So it's like a week before. It's the week that the movie is supposed to come out, and
Okay.
I get the bright idea to ask my lovely friends, who I appreciate so much, if I should wait to see it on Discount Tuesday, which is when it'll be a little cheaper, or should I pay the $5 extra to see it opening night?
Person, right.
They all just hate me because they told me they should.
They figure they're gonna have a real yo-yo to go see it, so they said you're elected. All right.
Yeah, so they all told me to go see it opening night.
All right.
So, cut to Thursday, 7:00 p.m. on opening night.
Thursday, that's last Thursday.
Yeah, and I'm in this
theater.
Yeah, I'm in this theater filled with a bunch of middle-aged women and a few.
Elderly men too.
Well, there were a few teenage girls and
yeah.
college students, which was surprising to me. But it was mostly just middle-aged single women and a few couples, and the men in that theater, bless their hearts, they just looked so trapped. Like, they just did not want to be there at all. In fact,
But they worked there, they had no choice.
yeah, they well, I'm just talking about the people that were watching the movie, not the people that were working. But, before the movie started, I actually played a little game where every time that a man would walk into the theater, I would take a picture of them and post.
You're on candid camera, so
Yeah, so I got to about like 8 or 9 guys before the movie started.
Okay.
So I'm just glad that I wasn't the only one in there. So basically, God, where do I start with this? Okay, there was one scary moment before the movie started where I thought that I saw my kindergarten teacher.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah, but it wasn't.
Yeah, there was a woman that got up that I thought looked like my kindergarten teacher, but thankfully it wasn't. So the movie starts, and it pretty much picks up immediately where the second one left off.
Right.
So
now, was if I remember, the guy that he fired.
Yeah.
Was he the one out to get him?
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
I think I remember what I'm saying.
Yeah. So basically, it starts off, and Christian and Anna.
Yeah.
I hate that I know their names.
Anastasia.
Anastasia Steele. They're getting married because in the last one, Christian proposed to her.
Right.
So it shows like a quick montage of them, getting married and then vacationing, going on a honeymoon and stuff.
This is the newest movie. Okay.
Yeah, this is the newest movie.
Right.
And the best way I can describe the movie is it's just a bunch of montages, like.
In other words, it's a little action here, a little action there, and a little action everywhere.
Yeah, like there's a montage of them getting married and going on honeymoon and like.
Vacationing
some more and
it's
visiting
all bullshit.
family.
In other words, it was nothing there. In other words.
Yeah, well, I will say it is better than the second one because this one, more so than the other ones, stuff actually happens.
Right.
The problem is that in this one, stuff actually happens. Like, the stuff that's happening is you don't care about it at all. Like, you don't care about these people and their relationship.
Right.
Like, fucking, so... Okay, so the main plot is these two have gotten married and they're they're living together in his like $5 billion apartment or whatever. And she's now like the main the head
Queen Bee, right there.
The head person at like her publishing firm or whatever. And basically the main story is her creepy boss from the last one who I don't know if this was like established in the second one, but his real name, and I'm not making this up, his real name is Jack Hyde.
Jack Hyde.
Which,
I think it was right. I think that's right.
So
and he was trying to make her in the second movie.
Yeah, so there's basically it's the story of him. He's trying to come after Anna for getting him fired and basically fucking up his entire life.
Yeah.
And so, but before all that, it's just a bunch of boring montages of them, like vacationing.
Scenes, that's various scenes.
Yeah, and the character of Christian, like, you thought he was like a controlling, creepy son of a bitch in the second one.
Yeah, right.
This one, like, there's a scene at the beginning where they're on a beach, and it's like a topless beach. I think you saw this in the trailer, but
I don't remember. Go ahead.
she asks him to like put like sun lotion on her back or whatever,
Right.
and she's like, take off my bathing suit, and he's like, no, not a chance. You're showing enough skin as it is, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Bullshit.
And then he goes in to like go swimming or whatever. He comes back and she's like fully topless.
Yeah.
And he's like so then he takes her back to the boat and like handcuffs her and like
starts starting his bullshit on the boat.
Yeah,
right.
and like he's just a really creepy control. Like they're at her job, like he makes a big deal about her not wanting to change her email address to
right.
Anastasia Gray,
right?
Because it's still Anastasia Steele. Like he shows up at her work and he's like, I tried to message you like 6 times and it didn't go through, and I'm like,
this is shit.
Fucking guy.
Yeah, right.
So, so they go. So they discover that her boss, Jack, has been he's out and about. He goes into he goes into Christian's like office or whatever.
He wants to blow him away, right?
Yeah, and he sets off a bomb in his office. Like,
this is funny.
Yeah, so they discover that he's out and about. He's trying to start shit, and so they get some security. The security that he hires is like the worst people.
It's like security they had in this poor high school where there's 17 kids got blown away.
Like, yeah, it's like the worst possible security. Like, they get fooled so many times in this movie. Like, there's a scene, that I'll get into more in a little bit, where Anna is trying to get out of the house, and the security is like blocking the door, and she calls him up, and he's like, hey, can you come help me upstairs? And he's like, okay, sure. He goes upstairs. She quickly runs out and leaves, and the guy like tries to chase after her. He looks over. She's stolen one of his cars. And he's like, oh fuck, I'm so fired. But anyway,
it's a shit movie.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's a shit movie.
Well, in other words, from the 3 movies, the first one was a bomb, the second one was so-so, and the third one is just as bad as the first one, in other words.
Well, I'd say
more or less.
I mean, I would say in terms of ranking them, I would probably go the first one. Like, I'd probably go the first one, even though I haven't seen it, and then the third one, and then the second one is the worst.
Because the second one that they made, right?
Yeah, the second one was just insufferable.
Yeah, the second one was
Yeah, like.
The story was so stupid. It was pathetic.
Like in this one, it at least tries to have somewhat of a plot.
Yeah.
Like, but the problem.
Because you see, the idea is the guy's trying to rub him out because he had a hard on for him.
And because at least this one has somewhat of a plot. The problem is you just don't care about it. Like.
In other words, it's a shit movie anyway you look at it.
Yeah, like.
In other words, to stand online, it's worse. It's thrown out money, and to buy the DVD, it's thrown out money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Like.
But people will buy it.
Yeah, and so the sex in this, because we have to talk about that.
Well, so there's hardly any sex in the third movie, right?
Yeah, like you thought that the second movie was lacking in sex, like
because the first movie they were hanging from the chandelier. All right.
Like in this one, the sex is practically non-existent.
In the third movie.
Yeah, in the third movie, it's practically non-existent.
Right,
it's a slog to get through, and when it is, when it is there, they don't show you anything. Like, they make a big deal in the trailer, like, oh, don't miss the climax. It's going to be really intense. There's nothing.
There's nothing, but that's where there's bullshit. You see, people don't know that. See, they try to entice you by saying, oh, you're going to miss a big screw and all that bullshit. Yeah. So you go over there, and it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you spend the money, you waste your time, and they're still making money on this shit.
Yeah, it was... Like, I checked it on, Box Office Mojo. It was, the highest-grossing movie of that week.
In other words, you
really
wouldn't stand online for it again.
No, I really wouldn't.
That's how bad it was, right?
Yeah.
And how long is it? About an hour and a half? Roughly?
It was about, an hour and, 45 minutes, maybe. So, I will give it this. It's much shorter than the second one. Because,
the second one was longer,
Yeah, at least, the second one just...
Well, it had a little action in the second one, but
well, the second one just like drags on and on forever.
but
And
you
I mean,
see-
granted, we watched the extended cut, but even still, like.
it was drawn out.
Yeah, it was drawn out. Like, at least with this one, it isn't as, like, long and...
No, because you know what? The guy is out to get him,
Yeah.
and he's pissed off at the wife, his new wife, for whatever
Yeah.
reason. And otherwise, it's a shitty story anyway. You
Yeah,
look at it.
and the reason that I put the third one above the second one is because the third one, there were actually some scenes that I kind of liked and found amusing. Like, there were a lot of parts where I was laughing during it. Like, there's one part where her creepy boss breaks into her house because, you know, like I said before, he's got top grade security.
Yeah, right.
So he comes into the house, he holds a knife up to her neck, and then like the two security guards come rushing down with guns, and they hold him down on the floor, and they're like, we need something to restrain him, and they're like, I don't have anything, and then Anna's like, we do, and then she pulls out a thing of handcuffs. So I'm like, that was kind of funny, and there is also a scene much later. It's one of the sex scenes that actually did that.
You know what? When she's on the beach and she took off her top, and that's the whole big sex scene.
Well, no, because there is one sex scene that I thought was fucking hilarious.
I'm listening. I'm laughing already. Go ahead.
It's him and her like go on a vacation, because again, that's all this movie is vacation.
Yeah.
And they're going with their family and friends and everything. They go to this like cabin in the middle of the woods, and it's late at night. She's sitting on like the counter eating some ice cream, like in her underwear or something. And they start like, he goes up to her and he starts making out, and then like she starts rubbing like a spoonful of ice cream all over him. Yeah, all over him, and she starts licking it off, and I'm like,
this is getting rambunctious.
Yeah, like this is so ridiculous that it's honestly kind of funny.
In other words, that's your sex scene for the day.
Yeah, and like everything else is either like cut too short or just not interesting.
In other words, to make it short, no story. It's shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
No.
And the story that they have, you don't care. like
but they're gonna make money on this shit.
Yeah.
Because look, people went into the movie, right, that you went to.
People went into the movie. It was almost like...
Was it half crowded or what?
Well, I mean... they had to do like 2 7:00 showings because the first one was sold out.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, and then the one that I was at, like, it wasn't.
Sitting,
yeah, the second one, it wasn't completely packed, but it was almost.
So you see, it goes to show you, bullshit makes money.
Yeah.
There's your answer, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So in other words, don't buy the DVD.
Yeah, don't.
And eventually, it'll be on HBO.
But no, wait. So, I do have to talk about the ending, because the ending is just
shitty.
Yeah, well, everything is shitty, but so the ending, they found out that the boss has posted bail. He's broken out, and then a few scenes later. And also, at some point in this, she discovers that she's pregnant because she forgot to take, like, her shot or something. I don't know.
Or a pill or whatever.
And then Christian, when he discovers that Anna is pregnant,
he goes
like
crazy.
the asshole that he is, he starts yelling at her, like, how could you do this? If I was going to have a life with you. And then he goes to the bar and comes home and gets drunk, and he's
and then he's starting to screw her again, right?
Yeah, and he, like, is talking with, like, his ex-mistress or something like that, or whatever, and so he's like, the two of them are pissed at each other, and then later on, the boss, the creepy boss, calls Anna up, and like a fucking James Bond villain, he's kidnapped Christian's like sister or something.
Something like yeah.
She's kidnapped her sister, and he's like. You know, if you ever want to see your sister-in-law again, you got to get me like
money.
$5 million or something like that. And so, you know, she runs past like his grade A security. She goes to the bank and gets
he gets out
the $5 million, and then of course, because Christian is a stalker and he knows everything and where she is.
Yeah.
He calls her up at the bank and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she like doesn't tell him anything. He's like, "I can't tell you. I can't tell you."
Yeah, I can't tell you I'm taking money. Yeah.
Like you dumbass, just tell him. He'll get the police on you. But anyway, so she gets the money. And then she drives off with this other woman who's working with the boss that I think was like her secretary that he like blackmailed or something.
Yeah, she had a black female secretary, if I remember.
Yeah, I think so. Like,
yeah, go ahead.
It is really hard.
How come I remember this shit?
Yeah, it's really hard to remember shit in this. So she shows up. She gives him the money, and like she starts beating her up, like and just, like punching her, and the secretary's like, I thought you wouldn't kill her, and he's like, just shut up, and he pushes her away, and then she pulls out a gun because she took out the gun. Remember
when they had a gal, she had that girl.
Yeah, when the other girl came in with the gun.
She had a pistol. Yeah.
Yeah, they kept the gun, so she took that with her. She shoots him in the leg. He's like passed out or something, and then they're both. Like passed out.
In other words, it's a shit movie.
But anyway, so she gets taken into the hospital because they think that when he was beating her up, like he kicked the baby or something.
So she probably killed the baby.
Yeah, he probably killed the baby. Thankfully, because everything just seems to work out in this movie, the baby is still alive.
Oh!
And like. It's all like happily ever after. He apologizes for being a douchebag to her.
The next movie is going to be Baby Jane Returns. Wait, they'll make a movie.
Wait. So that's not all of it. So at the very end, like they try to throw in some like family backstory about him, but like kind of like the second one, you hardly get anything. So
shut up, bro.
So she is cleaning out like some files or something, and she's like, "Hey, they found the grave of your dead mom or something like that, your birth mom." And then they go there for like maybe 10 seconds, and he puts down some flowers, and that's it. Like that's all the family backstory you get on him.
Whoever thought of this movie had to be a psycho case to put this shit together?
It was originally like a.
Shut up, Raymond.
It was originally like a fan-made story that she wrote on her cell phone. It was a fan fiction that she wrote on her cell phone that got published into a book.
But you see, bullshit makes money. That's it.
So,
why? You went to see it. They first the movie.
Again, thanks guys for making me see this piece of shit.
Now you tell your friends if you want to see shit movies, you're on your own. That's it.
But anyway, So he goes to the mom's grave, and then they go back to their house. This stupid pop song is playing, and they show like a clip show of scenes from the other two movies, just kind of like as a painful reminder that there was 3 of these.
And this movie was not even 2 hours, right?
Yeah, and then she texts.
Ring name, shut up.
Sorry. So then she texts him to go into that his playroom or whatever.
Okay.
And she's like sitting there in like this lingerie, and he goes in and grabs like a whip, and
they're going that shit.
He's like, and you think it's gonna be like, oh yes, this is the end of the movie. They're gonna do something. They're gonna do something like really big and sexual or whatever.
No, nothing.
And so he's like, do you want to play? And she's like, yes. And then he closes what would be the door over the camera. And I literally shouted in front of the entire theater, I shouted, God damn it! And then rushed out of the theater. Like, there was one, like, kind of, like, mid-credit sequence where it was, like, her and Christian playing with, like, their kid that was, like, all, like, kind of, like, grown up or whatever. And I'm like, nope, I don't care. I'm done.
That's it.
I'm done with this piece of shit.
That's it. Don't tell me about the 3 gay... Bring back Mickey Mouse. All right.
Yeah,
you got it out of your system.
Yeah, I got it out of my system. That's it. It's finally, it was like...
I'm waiting, as I said, I'm gonna laugh when it's on HBO, but I'm sure they're gonna show it on HBO.
Yeah, I'm sure like once it's pulled from theaters, it'll be put on.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be put on TV.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like.
So you spent a fruitful day.
Yeah, it was a great way to end
kill,
the day.
throw out a few dollars and then enjoy it anyway.
Yeah, like.
All right.
And as I said before, it's not the worst one because the worst one is the second one. But as a finale to this piece of shit trilogy, like it was just bad.
You're better off going and see Star Wars.
Yeah, like the only legitimately positive thing that I can say about this movie is that it was the last one.
Yeah, that's it.
Like it's over, they're
and
done.
Finished, and that's it.
I don't have to see it. I don't have to see or hear about these fucking movies anymore. And
yeah. It's
God damn.
You know, it's a shame because it goes to show you, how human interest is. In other ways, it excites the, how should I say it? There's a word for it. But not anticipation. There's a word for something that's, you want to
their
see.
Expectations.
Yeah, and you're hoping, gee, it's going to be something out of this world.
Well, I mean, I have a feeling like people who have seen the previous two didn't really go in with high expectations.
No, because they figured it's going to be another
it's
bomb.
going to be. Yeah, but
that's
like.
it.
And I expected it to be bad, but not this bad.
I figured,
Good
even
Lord.
though I didn't see it, I would figure, well, if the schmucks learned from their first two movies, they'll make this a little bit better to make maybe another movie. You never know,
Yeah.
But
And I mean, I was at least like, at the very least, like, I was expecting something at least enjoyably bad, and there were a few moments in there where, like, it was just so ridiculous and over the top that I was kind of laughing and enjoying myself.
In a case like that, go back and get a $100 of popcorn.
And at least, like, and I did, like, enjoy myself in the theater, because, like, during the movie, there were certain points during the movie where I would, like, throw out my own little side comments, and, like, I would make, like, the three college girls sitting in front of me laughing.
See, they had a sideshow.
Yeah.
You were the one who was giving them the laugh.
Yeah,
All
like,
right.
but God, this
It's
was
a shame, really.
painful.
Well,
Like, there were several points in this movie where I was considering jumping the balcony.
Oh, God, I'm going crazy.
Like, but I decided,
No, I give you credit. You sat out and watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
See, me, if I see a movie, don't have to be a sex movie, any movie, if I see after a while, when I used to go to a movie, I wasn't going nowhere. I said, shit on this. I'm
Yeah.
walking out. Why waste my time? That's
and I
me,
mean, And I mean, look, like, I'm sure that I'm gonna see plenty of really, really bad movies this year.
Yeah, not because it's
Like,
that type of movie. Any movie for that matter. That's right.
Yeah,
Look,
like I'm almost certain that I'm gonna see some pretty shitty movies this year, but it's gonna be tough to top this one. Like.
And what do you think they had on TV yesterday for excitement?
50 Shades Darker.
No.
Oh, what?
Titanic. Wait, they had another one just now, and I turned it off. It was an old Titanic made in black and white.
Yeah.
This was in the 50s they made this movie. And I know who the actors are. It was number one, Barbara Stanwyck. She played the wife. And there's another guy. He was a character actor. Not Father Knows Best, but I can't think of his name. And it was a better story, believe it or not, than the one that they showed on the other Titanic.
Yeah.
Oh God! All right, now you know. You got it out of your system.
Yeah, I got it out of my system. So, like you really need me to tell you not to see this movie. I mean, like, it's been out for like a little over a week now. I think anyone who wanted to see the movie has seen it already. Anyone who didn't want to see it, like, you don't need me to tell you that the movie is shit.
See, it's already gets around. People who did see it, or other people, strangers, by word of mouth, they're gonna say, you're throwing out your money. That's it. That's it.
So like if you are like. Even if you like these movies and like this book series, don't waste your money, because it's just gonna piss you off.
That's it. But
like,
you see,
if you're going into it thinking that it's gonna be so bad it's good, like, the other two weren't. So why would you think this one is going to be?
See, people are a glutton for punishment.
That's what I am. That's why I see all these shit movies.
You're not the only one. No.